Hello, Mom and Dad Meet World. So we have a different adventure for you. We actually had our heating element go out on us the day right before Thanksgiving. So in this Amazon Prime box is supposedly our heating element. So we are going to show you how to replace it on your Whirlpool oven. And this is actually for multiple different ovens. Ours happens to be a
Model WFE 550S0H1Z, which we found the model number and verified it. Underneath the bottom drawer here, you slide out where you can keep your bottom pans in your oven. And there was actually a service tag right here on the left-hand side of my oven with my model number. It also has my serial number for this particular oven. So this is where we found the model number to validate our parts. And then Dennis went online and looked them up and ordered them through Amazon, good old trusty Amazon. So we're going to do a little unboxing here for you and show you what it looks like straight out of the box, brand new. Neither one of us are certified electricians or stove repair peoples. I just really don't want to pay $1,000 to have my stove fixed when the parts are about $100.
So yeah, our warranty is well done with this particular stove. It was bought many years ago at Lowe's, and so there's no more warranty on it. And so instead of having this as a partial paperweight, we thought, why don't we give it a shot? Luckily, when we did get the part off Amazon, somebody did have some nice printed or nice instructions online. That was on Amazon's website, so we actually printed those, and we're actually going to go off of those particular instructions. You can see the heating element right here, and like what April said, we are not certified electricians. You want to definitely do this at your own risk and know that something could go wrong, and if it does go wrong with us in our particular experience, we'll definitely let you know.
But the part number, as Dennis said, is X001Q4 VQLR, and it's 1022749666. I'm going to zoom in here on this Amazon part number sticker so you can see it's got both the lettered series and the numbered series part number. One is probably Amazon's stock number, and one is probably the Whirlpool / manufacturer stock number.
And what we'll actually do is we'll actually get you the page where it'll pop up about right here where you can see the part number, but it is part number W10779716. That's W10779716, and that is going to be for multiple ovens.
And the reason he says multiple ovens is because right on the front of the sticker, it says specifically compatible with Element range ovens, with Whirlpool, KitchenAid, Maytag, Genair, and fits model numbers JDS, and that has a whole list. So this isn't a one and done. This is a multiple oven with a heating element scenario. So let's see what we can do to get our oven working so he can bake cookies and we can bake Christmas dinner, since it went out the day before Thanksgiving, which was kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I went to bake cookies, and what had happened was it took a long time to get the cookies to rise, and they never really quite rose all the way. So this is a Whirlpool. You can see that it is stainless. It's got the glass top on here, so let's give it a shot. We definitely do not want a big giant paperweight.
So we're just sliding the oven forward here. It's easier if you have two people like we do. Dennis is going to show you what it looks like behind our oven. And I'm just going to reach down here and unplug this for safety purposes so that we now have no power running to the inside of the oven while we work on the heating element.
So we've just got the oven pulled out here. I've just got my instructions right here printed from Amazon's page where he's saying it's going to take approximately 25 minutes. So first thing we did was unplug the oven. We've already got our trays out of the oven, and now it's wanting us to remove the screws on the bottom of the oven pan to reveal the baking element.
We don't have the trays out of the oven.
We don't have the trays out of the oven.
So this is the screwdriver I'm going to use. Just a simple everyday number 2, nothing fancy, no special bits. I'm gonna reach in here to the back and get 1 and 2. Thankfully, they're not overly tight, as you know, this area is heated, so it gets hot and cold. I was a little worried about that. You're coming right out.
Yep, so it says remove the 2 screws on the bottom of the oven pan, revealing the baking element. Pull up from back first.
So I'm going to move these screws with the washer on them. Remove those out. Set them aside. Tilt this forward, lifting from the back. Grabbing that right out.
So now it says to remove 2 screws holding down the baking element.
So it's 1, 2, holding it down.
At the base of this heating element, not the one in the very back yet.
Probably shouldn't be doing this with my watch and my rings on, but you know.
I would think, right?
Yeah, I think ours only has 1 screw from what I'm seeing right here. So we're at the back of the oven. There are 2 screws holding this cover on, which is where the heating element plugs in or passes through.
So when they literally mean the back of the oven, they mean literally going back to the back here, right where your wires are. Your wires plug into here. And if you've never installed or put an oven in yourself, this wire is actually plugged right into here. Here is the connectors right there.
So if you look right here, this is my heating element. This is where the bottom ones are coming through right here.
Yep. So as April's pulling on that, you can actually hear it from the front. So it says here on the back of the oven, remove the 2 screws holding the cover to the wires in the back. Unplug the wire connections to the bake element, and then you swap out the bake element by pulling out slowly and inserting the new one.
So as you can see, I'm going to keep these wires on their respective sides just to make sure they don't get crossed or mixed up.
Yep.
As we pull through.
And these were just clips, they just slide clips.
They look like speaker plugs if you have ever installed an old speaker.
Like a spade almost.
Exactly.
Spade connector.
So I'm going to go back to the front and slide that out. So we've slid around to the front. I'm going to grab this heating element. I'm going to slide it through and bring it down. So this is the replacement heating element. It comes with a front mount that when you slide it in like this, it does have a screw hole to line up to mount that down to. But that's not how my factory one came out. Mine came with these 2 brackets here, and that's actually how it's screwed down as well. So I'm going to grab a pair of pliers and pull these off because they're not welded. They slide along here. I don't know if you're seeing that, but they're moving. So I'm going to grab a pair of pliers and pull them off. And put them on my new heating element. Because, well, it's just a bracket to help it sit and stay still, but you don't want your bracket bouncing, your heating element bouncing around unnecessarily. So I'm just going to kind of set this in here until I line it up, and then you guys will see what I do once I line that up to screw that down. So I just took the back one off. I'm just straightening these up a little bit with the pliers before I slide it on there. These were actually scoring my old element pretty good when I pulled them off. So they had been put on there pretty tightly, which is, I don't know, probably a good thing, as you don't want your heating element bouncing around too much, but also kind of a pain in the butt because that was not in any of the instructions. And technically, you don't have to reuse these, just so that everybody understands. These are just a bracket, but I've always found it's better to support your electronics than to not support your electronics. So I'm going to put the brackets back on to support my electronics. So let's see what this looks like once I flip it over and slide it back in. So this is just sliding back through those holes. That's going to go like that, to screw down. And the last guy said his was kind of bent, didn't line up very well. I get what he means now, because I'm going to use these screws right here that came out of the bottom to screw this down. And all it's doing really is sitting here, holding it in place so that it doesn't bounce around unnecessarily. Don't over tighten these until you get them all three in. There's some support here. Like I said, this doesn't have to go back in, but I don't like to leave the OE pieces out whenever possible. I'll use my pliers to tighten those up a little bit more. I'll show you guys that too, so that you're not like wondering, how did she do it? Grab the pliers and pulling that up. And that is exactly how the other one looked when it first came out, except for everything stayed tight on it. This isn't going to, because this heating element isn't exactly flush, but as long as it's not riding up against my frame that I'm going to slide back in here, it should be just fine. So this has two little indentations that kind of just appear to sit right over top of the
Oh, it looks like it actually
these
grooved into place.
Yeah, and then it kind of slides forward, so you got to kind of have a good handle on it. And then it just drops down. It's not touching anything. It sat right down nice and flat. So I'm going to put these two screws in the back, and then I'm going to go around to the back and plug the heating element in. So one screw right back here in this corner. All right, now we're gonna close this door, go around to the back of the oven. So we're back here at the back. These two just poked right back through like they should have. So I'm gonna bring them right down here, slide these right back on.
It is a spade connector. They just slide on in there, same way they did when you pulled them out.
No tools required. All these bolts look nice and tight from a factory install. Nothing there that I'm going to worry about at all. This appears to just kind of slot. You see these? There's like some slots here in the metal frame. We're just going to kind of slot in here into the insulation. Slide up a little bit.
Yep.
There's a lot of insulation in these stoves, making these screws. A little bit snug to get lined up, but quite frankly. If that's the hardest part, is lining up this back piece and putting it back on, then I will take it. So from here, we're gonna plug it back into the floor, slide it back in place, and then we're gonna do a time-lapse video on the preheat and make sure that our oven actually is preheated properly. So I'm just gonna line up the holes here. Got one flat blade, two angled. So it can only go in one way. So we've powered it back in, shoved it back in place. Now I'm gonna reset the clock because there's nothing like a blinking clock to just really frustrate me. So my clock is set. So now I'm gonna actually turn on my bake. I'm gonna set it 350. I'm gonna say start. And we're gonna watch my temperature on my oven come up in the next few minutes. So as you can see, we just hit 350 on our oven and it beeps, gives me the readiness timer. I can tell you right now, just by opening that door, the new element is abso-freaking-lutely working. I don't have a thermometer to throw in there and show you guys, but the temperature gauge on the top, I believe, is accurate. It did heat up significantly faster than my old one. My old one must have been going out for a while, and I just didn't realize it. Additionally, the first time through, it did smell a little bit like dirt or kind of like when you burn oils off of something first time, just from whatever's on your hands, whatever's naturally stored on that heating element. That smell went away within the first probably a minute or two, and it wasn't really strong. But if you do notice an odor initially, that's absolutely normal. But there is a nifty heat coming out of that. I don't know if you can see it, but it is it's definitely hot. So success in about 30 minutes and a significant amount cheaper than bringing a technician out to the house. If you like this or found it a little bit useful, please like and subscribe. And until the next thing breaks, talk to you soon.